Visualizing data helps you understand it faster. And Matplotlib is one of the best Python tools for making charts. Chris Bruehl from Maven Analytics here, and in this video I'll show you how to make clear and simple charts using Matplotlib. So the plotting in Pandas is based off of a library called Matplotlib, and there's an API that connects the two. So this is a nice integration with the main Matplotlib library. We're not going to go nearly as deep as we can into Matplotlib. If you were to study that library, you would find a lot more options. But by the end of this course, we'll be able to create plots like this. So here we have a sales breakdown by date, or a scatter plot that shows us a relationship between our alcohol and prepared food sales, as well as coloring them by day of week. But this is just going to be an introductory level visualization course. We can go much, much deeper with full Python libraries like Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, and others. So this will get you enough visualization capability to tell a story and get insights, but you won't have the full power of Python's visualization. Just want to set expectations. To create a plot based on data in a data frame, we just need to call the plot method on our data frame. By default, this is going to create a line chart using the row index as the x-axis and plotting each numerical column as a separate series on the y-axis. So here we have a data frame called salesDF, and looking at the head of this, we have a column for our date. There's one row per date. That's going to be very important for line charts. We then have our sales of beverage products on those dates, alcohol products on those dates, grocery products on those dates, and prepared food products on those dates. So this looks a lot like a pivot table. And I'll say that creating pivot tables before plotting can create nice series like these. So let's go ahead and call the plot method on our salesDF. So here we're calling plot. And one thing you probably immediately notice is that our date column, because it was stored as a date time, is actually represented as a numeric column. So this will get plotted in our data. And it's plotted at the value of year. So everything is just 2013 here. We need to be careful about the columns we're selecting before plotting, or you'll end up with something like this. And also note that because our index was an integer index, we're just plotting versus our index. So this will be the default. And one other thing to point out is that if we take a look at our salesDF.plot line of code, you'll see this axis subplot piece underneath that. This is an artifact of Jupyter Notebook. So if you plot in a different Python coding environment, you won't see that. If you do want to suppress this in your Jupyter Notebook, add a semicolon to the end of your line of code. You don't need to do this. We can save out our plots without including that little snippet of axis subplot. But if it really bothers you, just add a semicolon to the end of your line of code, and that should fix things. Now let's take a look at our x-axis. We can change our x-axis by setting a different index or by using the x argument. So in this case, we're using setIndex to set our index to be date. This is often what we want to do with line charts. They tend to represent changes over time. And one thing you'll notice is that our x-axis has been automatically split into time and date components. So we're just plotting the month of March here, so it clearly labels the month of March. And then the ticks below that are the days in March. We can also use the x argument within the plot method to specify the column we want to serve as our x-axis. For time series plots like this, I prefer the setIndex method. SetIndex also allows for a little bit more filtering and formatting prior to plotting, but the x-axis argument is another convenient way to set our index for our plot. And of course, we might also want to filter down this series. So generally speaking, we'll rarely plot an entire data frame. So if we use the lock accessor, we can filter our data frame down to the columns of interest prior to calling the plot method. Or you can also use the y argument in the plot method to do so. I tend to try to filter my data frame as much as possible for plotting, just so I know that I have the exact data I want to plot, but you're welcome to use the x and y arguments as well. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at these in a demo. All right, so let's go ahead and read in our transactions data frame. Note that I'm using parse dates to store our date column as a datetime data type. We're going to learn about these arguments later, but just a heads up. And so if I were just to call plot on this data frame, we have three numeric columns here based on our pandas data type. So date will be numeric, store number is an integer, transactions is an integer. And so if I just call the plot method on this data frame, we're going to get all of our numeric columns plotted. This is pretty ugly, isn't it? So one thing that we can do first is set our index. So, generally an integer-based index for a time series isn't super helpful. And then I'm going to go ahead and narrow this down to just 2013 and grab only our transactions column. So we're going to get rid of store number altogether, and let's go ahead and take a look at this plot.
Hey there! Just so you know, if you're enjoying this tutorial, it's actually part of my 22-hour data analysis with Python and Pandas course at Maven Analytics. So if you want more hands-on practice and full-length lessons, make sure to check out the link in the description. Alright, now back to the lesson.
One thing that we need to be very careful about, particularly when we're talking about line charts, is we need to make sure we have one row for each of our index values. So here we have, one row for each of our stores on a given date. And this is going to lead to some very, very confusing types of graphs. Basically, our chart doesn't know how to connect the dots because we have 50 rows for each of these dots to connect. And so what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to filter down to just store number 24. The rest of this code is going to be the same. And so when we do this, we now have a clear time series. If we were to drop this lock piece before plotting, we can see we have one date per row. And this is what we need if we want to have a time series or line plot that makes sense. And so once again, now we're able to analyze, okay, how does store 44 do over time? And we have one date per row. This is the kind of line chart that we want to look at. And so another thing you might do is set up your data frame ahead of time. So as opposed to, creating this very convoluted, line of code, which again, will get you the results that you want, you might choose instead to create a plot data frame, right? So here we're creating transactions 44. We're using the lock accessor to filter down to store 44 and grab the columns that we want. And so when we do this, we now have our, single row per date and our transactions for store 44. If we go ahead and set our index here, we get a plot for all rows. So we didn't filter down to just, that first month. So we have a very long time series of all transactions in our data frame. And of course, as opposed to, using the set index method, you could also specify date and y equals transactions. If we want to be more specific, this works as well. I tend to like the filtering method, but this is going to be equivalent in most cases. And so finally, let's take a look at an example of plotting multiple values. I mentioned that the pivot table method is a great way to get our data in a shape for plotting. First, let's just go ahead and walk through this step by step. We have our transactions data frame, and this was our original data frame with multiple rows per date. We have store number and transactions. Let's go ahead and use the query method. Let's just filter down to 2 stores. And so now we have the effect of having 2 rows per date. Again, this is going to create a nonsensical line chart. So what we can do is pivot our table and make our index our date and our columns our store numbers. So let's take a look at this data frame. And so now we have 1 row per date, which is what we want, and we have 2 numeric series. One thing we have to be careful of is when we do this pivoting, we now have a second level of our index for columns, which will make our legend look strange. So if we don't drop this top level, you can see these tuples are returned in our legend, and we have none here. So if we drop our second column index, we now end up with a line chart that gives us a very good view of how our sales in store number 44 and 45 compared. This is a lot of information here. We can learn how to format this so we can maybe compare a little bit better. We might also want to filter down to more specific time periods. But from this series, we can see that there are big spikes in sales around our holiday periods. And for the most part, store 47 tends to have lower sales than store 44, but they have similar patterns in their sales. And finally, just to show, if this really bothers you, sometimes it can be very annoying. We can go ahead and specify a semicolon there to get rid of that little axis subplot piece.
If you're looking for more ways to level up your Python skills, make sure to check out our self-paced courses, guided projects, and create your personalized learning plan for free at Maven Analytics. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more data content just like this. We'll see you in the next one.